It's no mystery that From takes a lot of inspiration from Lost. I mean, a lot of the same people who worked on Lost are also working on From. But what if I told you the similarities go much deeper than you think, to a point where if you look at the greater themes, these shows are practically two sides of the same coin. It's extremely obvious that From creator John Griffin is a big fan of Lost, and I'm right there with him. Lost is my favorite show of all time. Now, hearing that might make some viewers skeptical, because despite all the great things Lost achieved and accomplished, it's still widely known as the show that was making things up as it went along. With countless unanswered mysteries and what many people consider to be a terrible series finale, even though in my opinion, I don't think the series finale is bad at all. But since that's what most people think of when they hear Lost, a lot of people also assume that From is gonna make the exact same mistakes. Except I really don't think that's gonna happen. In fact, I strongly believe From is going to stick the landing and deliver a satisfying ending. There are just so many similarities between these two shows that at times it almost feels like John Griffin wanted to make Lost, but do it right and not leave viewers feeling unsatisfied. In a lot of ways, From feels like a Lost 2.0. But now let's actually dive into the similarities that these two shows have. Of course, there are the obvious ones. At their core, both shows are a mystery series with horror elements woven in. The characters are a group of strangers who are trapped in a mysterious place they can't leave. As Desmond said in Lost,
"This place here, we are stuck in a bloody snow globe."
This is just like Fromville. You can continue down the road, but you'll always end up back at the town. We can even see one of Victor's drawings of Fromville, and he drew it as a snow globe. The characters are also not alone. There's something on the island in Lost and something in Fromville that is actively trying to hunt and kill them. But it doesn't stop there. A lot of the characters even have striking similarities to each other. For example, you have Boyd Stevens and Jack Shephard. Both are the leaders of their group who are desperately trying to save as many people as possible, and both struggle to accept that sometimes people have to die. Then you have Jade and Sawyer. They both fit the lovable asshole archetype, but as their stories progress, they become better people. They also both love giving people around them little nicknames.
Gold star for Tika!
Ooh. Looks like Crouching Tiger and Hidden Dragon got something good. Lay it on.
But I'm calling you Sparkplug from now on. I like it.
We're all in this together, man. Let's treat each other with a little respect.
Shut up, Lardo.
There's also Victor and John Locke. Both seem crazy at certain points and often give the impression that they know more than they're letting on throughout the series. You have Father Cautry and Mr. Echo. They're both priests who spread their wisdom to the characters around them and help guide them through difficult situations. Now, to be honest, some connections are stronger than others, but pretty much any character in From, you can make some kind of connection to a character from Lost. But by far, the most obvious examples are Jacob and the Man in Black from Lost, and the Boy in White and the Man in Yellow from From. In Lost, Jacob is the good guy, and the Man in Black is the villain. They're locked in a constant battle with each other, but the thing is, they can't directly hurt one another. That's why they use the people on the island to do their work for them. Now, even though we don't know the full story behind the Boy in White and the Man in Yellow, it does seem like a very similar dynamic, good versus evil, both sides trying to guide the characters in a certain direction, almost as if they're playing a game of chess, which coincidentally is something that appears multiple times throughout both shows. These four characters are also extremely old. The Boy in White and Man in Yellow, from everything we know, are at least around a couple hundred years old, whereas Jacob and the Man in Black are around 2,000 years old. I mean, for crying out loud, both the Man in Black and the Man in Yellow can shapeshift. The rules to that power are even the exact same. The Man in Yellow can't turn into someone who isn't in Fromville, and the Man in Black can't shapeshift into someone who isn't on the island. They have to die in Fromville, and the dead body needs to be on the island in order for this to happen. But anyways, let's move on. While watching From, I often find myself thinking, oh, something really similar to this happened in Lost, numerous times. For example, Lost and From have very similar endings to their very first seasons. In Lost, a few of the survivors set out on a raft and try to get rescued. That's when a boat shows up, and just for a few seconds, they all think they're saved. That is until it's revealed that the people on the boat aren't there to help. They're actually the antagonists who have been attacking the characters all season. Now let's look at the ending of season 1 of From. They build a radio tower, and it even works to an extent. Just like Lost, for a split second, everyone is happy because they believe they've finally been saved. That is, until the voice on the other end reveals that he's not there to help them. Even though both scenes are different, they still play on the same twist. The survivors think they're saved, but in reality, they're only left off worse than they were before. And even though this might not be intentional, I believe it's still worth noting that both the others in Lost and the nightmare creatures in From practically know everything there is to know about the main characters. I even feel like there's ideas Lost kind of played with but never followed through on that From expands on and actually follows through with. For example, you have Claire and Fatima, both with babies that are seemingly connected to evil. Fatima ends up giving birth to Smiley, while Claire gives birth to Aaron, someone who back in season 1 was heavily hinted at as potentially being evil, or at least if Claire wasn't in his life. I mean, they both even go to a psychic to see what's going on. But now let's move on to the similar mysteries and themes both these shows share. First, you have the time travel. In both From and Lost, time travel plays a very important role, and as we all know, the logic between time travel seems to work almost the exact same.
If we try to do anything different, we will fail every time. Whatever happened, happened.
It doesn't work like that. But you can visit the chapters, but you can't change them.
Both shows also feature a lighthouse, and even these could have the exact same purpose. In Lost, the lighthouse is used by Jacob to keep an eye on all of his candidates without having to leave the island. Even though we don't know the purpose of the lighthouse in From, it is heavily theorized that the boy in white or the man in yellow use that lighthouse to find and choose people to arrive in Fromville. This next one is kind of a theory I made, but there's also a story beat similarity I haven't seen anyone point out, and I honestly think I might be the first person to notice it. And that's either a good thing or a bad thing. Towards the end of Lost, Jack Shephard is inside a cave where he eventually unclogs the heart of the island, or something. It's not very clear what it actually is, but once he does this, the island starts shaking and the man in black becomes mortal, meaning he can finally be killed. Now, if we go to the final episode of season 4 of From, it starts with them pulling a tree out of the ground, which to me looks very similar to Jack unclogging whatever he unclogged. But it doesn't stop there. What happens after they pull the tree out? Earthquakes happen, just like in Lost. Does this mean they can kill the man in yellow now? Probably not. But then again, who knows? I wouldn't put it past the creator to do something very similar. But now I want to touch on something I mentioned earlier. The music in these shows are very similar. I believe music is a very important part of any TV show or movie, especially if it's music that was composed specifically for the show. It can elevate an already really powerful scene to the next level. This is something I believe Lost mastered. It has some of the best composing ever for a TV show. Even though From hasn't reached that level yet, they do have a few bangers. The song that plays when Victor and his dad reunite is beautiful enough to make a grown man cry. And again, there will be moments in From where the music is going off in the background, and I find myself thinking, I've heard this exact same thing in Lost. The music in both shows has that eerie, mysterious, and sometimes even scary vibe to it. They both use a violin to get that sharp, piercing sound that you can hear time and time again throughout both soundtracks, and in my opinion, it works perfectly for both shows. Now, even though I'm pretty positive every single similarity I talked about in this video wasn't intentional, I do believe a lot of them were. And I'm all for it. Like I said, I love Lost, so if From is able to add more Lost into the show, but keep it grounded and not overdo it with countless unanswered mysteries, From is gonna go down as an amazing show. But anyways, that is going to be the very end of this video. If you've made it this far and have enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. And if you want to see more videos by me, I have a lot. So go check those out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.